All right, so the team build we're going to show today is Black Widow with Captain America and Doctor Strange. Captain America will have the Infinity Gauntlet attached to him. Then on the sideline will be Peggy Carter and the Shift and Focus Black Widows. We will walk through each one of these characters and how the team works together. The centerpiece of this team is going to be Black Widow number 100. She has the first trait of hypersonic speed when she uses it and hits with a close attack. If she's on a theme team, which she will be, where this is going to be an Avengers themed team with 3 Avenger figures, or your starting force has 2 characters from Black Widow movie set, after resolutions you may place the hit character in any square she moved through after the attack. If you do, deal them 1 penetrating damage. Okay, a couple things to look at on that trait. First of all is she has to be on that theme team, which we will be using her on. She has to hit. Doesn't say she has to damage. So if somebody reduces the damage taken to 0, but she hit them, this still activates. The other thing is the placement is any square she moved through after the attack. So in hypersonic, you move, attack, and then do another move. So there's kind of 3 things in hypersonic. Her first move doesn't come into play. If she hits, then the second move is what comes into play. And it has to be a square she moved through. So you can't place them adjacent to the last square she moved into. It has to be in a square that she moved through. And then, of course, you don't want to forget to deal them 1 penetrating damage. Her next trait is just enough gas in the tank. Free, once per game, half speed, then move. Also in there is when Black Widow leaves the map, generate a heavy object in one of her squares. Protected pulse wave. We will be taking advantage of that free move to extend the reach of this team almost all the way across the map. So we're going to look at how far they can reach as one of the breakdowns. Okay, and then her last trait we are also going to take advantage of. It is time to get off the bike. During force construction, you may include a character named Black Widow of 75 points or less on your sideline. The first time Black Widow would be KO'd, instead replace her with that Black Widow on its last non-KO click. Then roll a d6 and heal that Black Widow half the result. This game, that Black Widow can't be healed any other way. Protected pulse wave. So should she get KO'd, you may pull in an additional Black Widow. We are going to look at how we can use that to our advantage should things not go our way and this Black Widow ends up getting KO'd. Now, a couple things to look at on that trait. The replacement is the first time this Black Widow would be KO'd. So should the opponent work through her dial, they're not going to score her when they get her to that KO click. Instead, we can put one of the 75-point Black Widows onto the map. So it extends how long it would take for an opponent to score points. Let's take a look at her dial. She has 5 range, 2 targets, 11 movement sidestep, 11 attack precision strike, 18 defense with super senses, 3 damage with range combat expert on her opening click. She's coming in at 75 points. She has the Avengers initiative team ability. What we are going to use her for are those traits, though. She'll be going out across the board. The free movement will come into play. She'll be attacking with a decent attack value and then be able to move back across the board partially and place the character that she hit in one of the squares she moved through and deal them that 1 extra penetrating damage. So she has a fine amount of damage output. The precision strike is going to help her get through some of the things that would make it tough to hit certain characters. And then that one penetrating after the fact is great, but really the positioning is the best thing about her. That Avengers Initiative team ability allows Black Widow to have improved movement hindering and improved targeting hindering. Improved movement hindering is this character does not stop moving when moving into terrain that is hindering for movement purposes, and does not half its speed value when beginning movement from terrain that is hindering for movement purposes. Improved targeting hindering states lines of fire drawn by this character can't be hindered. You'll notice in addition to the Avengers Initiative improved abilities, Black Widow also has improved movement characters. What that one does is gives this character can move through squares adjacent to or occupied by opposing characters without stopping, and automatically breaks away even if adjacent to a character that can use plasticity. This is going to allow her to move and target whoever she wants with that hypersonic speed. Now, hypersonic speed gives you a +2 to breakaway, but this is even better because she doesn't have to break away. So she can move in, attack a character, and then move again without having to worry about that breakaway roll in hypersonic. Let's take a look at Captain America, number 71 from the Black Panther set. We will be playing him with the +15 point trait, which is Captain America starts the game with any one Infinity Gauntlet equipped. His next trait is the gems. They want to be together. Barrier as free, but only to generate one marker. Captain America can't be healed and takes a maximum of 1 damage from an attack. Protected Pulse Wave. His special attack power is Knockback. When Captain America knocks a character back, add 10 to the amount of knockback. He has the Avengers team ability. On his first click, he's starting with a 10 movement sidestep, 11 attack with that special attack power, 18 invincible, and 3 damage with range combat expert. He has a 6 range with 1 target. He's coming in at 135 points, plus the 15 will make him 150. You'll see at the end of his dial, he has 19 with defend and support. In the middle of his dial, he has a 9 movement charge, 17 defense, and 3 damage with close combat expert. Captain America is going to start with Infinity Gauntlet attached. We're using S009. It's the one that has free. Choose a standard power, then roll a d6. 5 or 6, you may choose an additional standard power. 1 or 2, deal this character 1 unavoidable damage. This character can use the chosen power or powers until your next turn. Now, even though it has a point value of 30, Captain America can add it. He can start with it equipped for 15 points, which means that 30 points does not go into your build total, just the 15-point add-on. The way that works on characters is Captain America would still be 135 points for scoring. So if he gets KO'd, your opponent scores 135. The 15-point bonus, it might feel like it increases his point value, but it's just an additional 15 points that you pay. Now, if the Infinity Gauntlet gets unequipped from Captain America, so if Captain America was to get KO'd, this gauntlet would drop. If for any reason somebody was able to remove and score this from the game, you'll see it's indestructible, but I think there's a couple modern characters that have some traits that allow them to remove and score. This would then you would score the 30 points, the person that got this removed from the game. So that's just a little nuance about the way the additional things work. That 15 points doesn't increase Captain America's point value for scoring. He's still 135. The gauntlet is still 30 points. That doesn't get counted towards your build, but does get scored if it gets KO'd. Since we are using Captain America, we are going to include on our sideline Peggy Carter. Her trait is sideline active. When a friendly character named Captain America or Steve Rogers of 50 points or more is KO'd by an opposing attack, you may place Peggy Carter from your sideline into that square on her blue starting line. Then deal her damage equal to the final amount of damage taken by that character, minus the damage he was clicked, the excess damage. She has another trait that is, when Peggy Carter starts the game, generate a Becky Barnes bystander. And she has the Living Legends trait, which is the first time each game Peggy Carter would be KO'd. Instead, turn her to her last non-KO click, then roll a d6 and heal her equal to half the result. Protected Pulse Wave. Okay, Becky Barnes starts with a 8 movement sidestep, 11 attack, combat reflexes of 18, and close combat expert with 2 damage. So you can have her pop out when Peggy Carter starts the game. She would be 20 defense up close, 11 attack that you could pump up by 1 or 2, or a 2 damage that you could pump up by 1 or 2. So a very solid bystander. I use Captain America on this team for a couple reasons. Number one is for that knockback. You'll see how that comes into play when we look at how it combines with what Black Widow is able to do. But basically, being able to knock back the character an additional 10 squares is going to keep them out of follow-up range, hopefully. The other reason is for the only taken 1 damage. That's going to preserve him throughout his dial. The next reason is the support power he has at the end of his dial. So should things turn bad, that support can come into play. We're going to cover that when we look at Black Widow. And then, of course, on top of all of that, is we're able to use Peggy Carter on the sideline. It works extremely well with this Captain America because as we look at the wording on Peggy's card, it says when that Captain America would be KO'd, you may place Peggy Carter from your sideline into that square on her blue starting line. Then deal her damage equal to the final amount of damage taken. Captain America only takes 1 damage, minus the damage he was clicked. So if Captain America's trait allows him to only take 1 damage, then he's only clicked 1 damage, you're getting full use out of Peggy Carter because 1 minus 1 is going to be 0. So she would start on her blue click, which is 8 charge, 11 attack precision strike, 6 range, 1 target, 18 defense toughness, 3 damage leadership. She'll have 4 clicks of life, and she will make the Becky Barnes bystander. And the first time she would be KO'd, she gets to heal again. You put her on her last non-KO click, roll a d6, heal her equal to half the result. So if somebody is able to work through Captain America's 1 click of damage at a time, we can generate Peggy Carter. If they're able to work through her dial, then they don't really KO her. She gets to come back and get another heal. You'll see here on Peggy Carter's dial, she also ends with support, which could come into play when paired up with the Black Widow. We're going to use Doctor Strange on this team, number 72 from Captain America in the Avengers set. His first trait is phase and teleport, but only if he isn't adjacent to an opposing character. When he uses it, you may generate a portal marker in the square he began or ended movement in, removing any other portals. Other friendly characters occupying or adjacent to the square with the marker can use phase and teleport and modify speed +2. We're going to be using him for that +2 to speed to extend the reach. One of the reasons we'll be using him. He has a special defense power, which is Super Senses, Defend. But when friendly characters replace their defense value, you may choose that replacement value to be one higher or one lower than his printed defense value. He is Power Cosmic and Mystics as the team abilities. He has an 8 range, single target. Starts with Stealth, TK, the 18 with that Super Senses and Defend special defense power, 3 damage and prob. So the way I use him on this team is to boost up Black Widow's speed, which we'll look at, provide prob in case Captain America needs it, since he'll be the attacker also. He has TK in case we need to do any positioning, stealth, so he can be hidden out in the hindering terrain. But if we need him to be an attacker, 8 range is pretty good, 11 attack is very good, and a 3 damage can get the job done if we need it to. If he happens to take some damage, he ends up with Running Shot, Pen Psi, 4 damage, or 3 with a Perplex. And then additionally, just like Captain America and Peggy Carter that we looked at, if things do turn bad and he ends up on those last clicks, we could make use of that support power, especially with what we can do with Black Widow, which we're going to go over also. So we'll have 3 characters that have support that could extend the life of the team if things don't go the way that we have planned. Now keep in mind this Doctor Strange does not fly, but he does have Mystics and Power Cosmic. Power Cosmic on a Doctor Strange is pretty cool, so he's going to have willpower and protected outwit. And Mystics, given that Mystics damaged anybody that might attack him or damage him, that's always a bonus. Preferably, we're going to keep him out of battle and use him as the support piece and only a 3rd level attacker if need be. She has the trait Time to Get Off Your Bike. During forced construction, you may include a character named Black Widow of 75 points or less on your sideline. The first time Black Widow would be KO'd, instead replace her with that Black Widow on its last non-KO click, then roll a d6 and heal that Black Widow half the result. This game, that Black Widow can't be healed any other way. Protected Pulse Wave. So let's break that one down a little bit more. The first time that this Black Widow would be KO'd, which means she does not get KO'd the first time your opponent works through the dial. Instead, they score no points, and you get to replace this Black Widow with another one. The way we're going to use that is this Black Widow's main purpose is to go out there, get characters from across the map, and bring them into range, deal that extra penetrating damage, and let Captain America take some shots and Strange take some shots if needed. So should this Black Widow get hit for a couple clicks and find herself towards the end of her dial, she still has great movement and the ability to have that improved movement characters. So should she get hit for a couple clicks, she'll have a 10 movement with sidestep. Or should she get hit to the end of her dial, she'll still have 9 movement or 10 movement with some shape change. So if she does get hit with that improved movement characters, The idea would be just to get her out of the front lines. That should be enough movement to get her back to Captain America or Doctor Strange. Let them take over the battle. Should your opponent start working through their dial, it will get those two characters onto their support clicks, in which case they can start healing this Black Widow back up and make it very difficult for your opponent to work through the dial. That combined with Captain America's only taken one and Doctor Strange's stealth makes this team very difficult for an opponent to work through or to even score points off of. The team build comes in at 300 points. It's going to be an Avengers themed team with a +3 bonus. Okay, we're going to take a look at what they can do on the battlefield in relations to how far that reach is. Okay, let's take a look at the reach of this team build. We have Black Widow, Captain America, and Doctor Strange. Across the board, 15 squares away, is Baron Zemo. That means he is just 6 squares out of his starting area. We should be able to reach him from where he's at. We're going to start with Black Widow using her sidestep. She's going to move 1, 2, place here. Doctor Strange has his trait, which is phase and teleport, but only if he isn't adjacent to an opposing character. When he uses it, you may generate a portal marker in the square he began or ended movement in, removing any other portal markers. Other friendly characters occupying or adjacent to the square with the marker can use phase and teleport, modify speed +2. So we're going to phase him right here, generate his marker. Black Widow will then use her trait, which is free. Once per game, half speed, then move. She is an 11 speed, so she would half that to 6. Then she would modify it to +2 since she's next to Strange's marker, which would give her an 8. We will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and place right there. She will then use hypersonic, and she has the special trait where it's hypersonic when she uses it and hits with a close attack. If she's on a theme team or your starting force has 2 other characters from the Black Widow set, after resolutions you may place the hit character in a square she moved through after the attack. If you do, deal them 1 penetrating damage. So again, she has the 11 speed. She's going to hypersonic. She will go 1, 2, 3, 4. She's going to place here. Attacking Zemo. We'll assume that she hits. That's 4, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We'll place her right here. After resolutions, we'll place Zemo. And we'll put him in this square that she moved through after the attack. Captain America has sidestep. He's going to sidestep up 2, get in next to Strange. He has a 6 range, 11 attack, and range combat expert. He has his special attack power, knockback. When Captain America knocks a character back, add 10 to the amount of knockback. Now remember, he also has that Infinity Gauntlet equipped, so if he needed to, he could choose a power now for free, and then do the die roll and see what happens. But if he needed to outwit somebody, that somebody's ability that prevents knockback, he could do that. In this case, we won't have to, so he is going to make that attack, range combat expert. We would we can assume that he'd split it 1 and 1 so that he could be trying to deal 4. Against Zemo, there's no reducers, so you might split that differently. But that would put him at a 12 attack, which is good against most defenses, and a 4 damage. If he hits, he would be dealing 4 damage to Zemo, who doesn't have reducers. But let's pretend that he is hitting a character that does have reducers. So they reduce 2 and they take 2. So that would be damage taken 2, which would be knockback of 2, plus 10, which would be knockback of 12, if they had a reducer. In this exact case, it would be knockback of 14. So that would give him knockback of 14 in this particular case. Remember, if it was a reducer, then still that would be a 12 knockback. Be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and hit the wall. So you could see in that example, Black Widow was able to grab somebody from across the map, pull them back within Cap's range. He's able to hit them and knock them back all the way back across the map, even further than where they started. Hopefully that would be far enough to get them out of their counterattack range. So, for example, Zemo then would need to be swinging. He'd have to have a 12 reach to be able to try to hit Black Widow. Another thing then on this setup, you'd want to have Strange next to Cap, because remember, Doctor Strange has the special defense power, which is Super Senses Defend. But when friendly characters replace their defense value, you may choose that replacement value to be 1 higher or 1 lower than his printed defense. So Strange has an 18, so Cap can defend then as a 19, which makes him a little bit tougher to hit. Doctor Strange also has that prob and stealth. So with this type of build, it's meant to be one that hopefully you'll be dealing damage and isolating your opponent's characters on your side of the map, where your opponent's going to have a hard time to get to you before you can KO at least one of their characters and score some points. And then the movement that these 3 characters have is very good. But should things go the opposite direction and your opponent goes on the offensive and starts attacking your characters, they'll have to work through Captain America's trait, which just allows him to take 1 damage from attacks. Should they get through Captain America, then they'll have to deal with Peggy Carter and Becky, which is going to be all of that from the blue starting line to the end. If they focus on Black Widow and they work through hers, they wouldn't score any points before we could replace. So we'd be able to replace this Black Widow with another one. So then your opponent would have to deal with Black Widows, depending on which one you want to use. But they'd have to work through another dial before they get any points. If they focus on Strange, then they'll have to get through that prob. They'll also be taking mystics as they damage him, in addition to his stealth and his phase in, so he can just phase away as your opponent closes in. Black Widow's going to have that improved movement character, so she can get away should your opponent try to base her up. And Cap has decent movement values, moving up to 12s on those last clicks, also with phase in. So this is going to be a tough team for your opponent to pin down and to score points off of. It could be, it has the potential to be very difficult for your opponent to get any points off of this team. I hope you enjoyed our look at this team. It's a ton of fun to play, and it has solid potential competitively. I hope you try it out. If so, let me know how it goes in the comments below. If you have some other ideas of little tweaks you would like to do, maybe not use the Infinity Gauntlet and use a different piece of equipment instead, let me know those thoughts also. Okay, thanks for watching. Check it out. If you dig what we do, go ahead and like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.